Haru Never, Assalamu alaikum, Namaste, Het-Heru. This is Kasak Ma'a Keperu with another broadcast for you. And I have some really good news, some good news. And that news is that on Sunday on the East Coast, the clocks will be moving, I believe, 1 hour in advance. So if you had followed my broadcast earlier, I talked about SAD, seasonal affective disorder, where when the seasons change and you have more darkness than light, it can affect the chronobiology of some individuals, and I am susceptible to that. So coming in this month, March, tomorrow, when we move the clocks ahead, we'll have more daylight than night. So, in the morning, you'll get up maybe 6 a.m., there'll still be darkness, but for those who do 9 to 5, when you're working, you get off at 5, 6, and 7, it's going to be more light outside. And that's good because that's the raw energy that gets you going, the chi flow, and you're getting from the sun. The sun is very important because it basically helps vitalize you. And our ancient ancestors, the Kemetic people, had a whole philosophy around the sun and whatnot. But today I want to talk to you about a very, very important subject. And I'm going to go into some details about this because a lot of people have had some questions about it. And this is about your fantasies and the things that you want for your life and how to make those come to fruition. Your fantasies can come true, they can be real. And I want to break this down so you understand the process exactly. Because I know I spoke about this in the past, and a lot of people have been saying, well, what's the exact process to it? And I thought I outlined it, but some people are still vague on the details. So I'm going to get into it. Now, the first thing you have to understand, I don't care what you get involved with, whether it's The Secret, the law of attraction, or Zen meditation and all that. If there are things that you want, you have to first understand one essential thing. And this is what I call the core belief. And in other religious practices like Christianity or, for example, Scientology, they have different names for it. For example, in NLP, it's called the meta frame. But I just refer to it as the core belief. And that core belief has to start with you are God man, God woman. If you don't have that at the core of your being and you don't believe that 100%, then I don't think anything else is going to work for you. Now, look at this analogy. Let's say that you have this boxing ring, and this boxing ring will be like the ring of life. All right, this is life. I don't care if you're Mike Tyson. If you get into that ring and instead of having your hands up to protect your face, you let your guard down, let your hands down. Doesn't matter who your opponent is. Let's say, how many of you can remember Pee Wee Herman? You could be Mike Tyson fighting against Pee Wee Herman. If your hands are down, he's going to keep pounding you and hitting you with left and rights. And eventually you're going to get knocked out. And that's how we all are with life. We get into the ring of life, the boxing ring of life, and we go, why me? Why me? Why are all these things happening to me? Life is so unfair. I want to be rich. I want to be good looking. I want to have the best, the beautiful wife or a handsome husband. And you find that these things may not be coming to you, but you're really like doing your vision board or doing your visualizations, your meditations, or you're writing it down, or you're doing sigils and everything, or doing candle magic, and it doesn't seem to be coming to you. Well, the reason why it may not be coming to you is the first step is that you don't accept the core belief. There, thousands of years ago, we went to a time disruption, and where history was changed. And not only was history changed, the belief system of everyone on the planet shifted. And what that was, essentially was this. We went from believing that God was within us to God is an outside entity. And when we accepted that core belief that God is an outside entity, we relinquished our power. And it is the same, the equivalent to you being Mike Tyson fighting Pee Wee Herman and just letting your hands down and not protecting your face. You're crying, why is Pee Wee kicking my ass? When you are the best fighter there is, all you have to do is put your hands up and start hitting back. Do you understand what I'm saying? You get the analogy. So when you placate or surrender yourself to an outside entity or an intermediary, whether it be Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Krishna, whatever, when you placate yourself to an outside entity, you are relinquishing your power. Now, here's the trick of it all. The universe is a mirror. It mirrors back to you, and it also obeys your command. If you say, I am powerless, whether you say it verbally or through internally a belief system, then you become powerless. The universe makes you powerless. But if you say that, I am divine being, I am God, I am Osir within me, then the universe reflects that back to you. How does the universe reflect that back to you? By manifesting the things that you want in your life. You see what I'm saying? It all has to start with the core belief. If you don't have that, then nothing you're going to do and try will work in terms of magic, spirituality, the occult. It's not going to work. I have friends who do elaborate rituals and nothing comes to fruition because I say you're still stuck with the idea that you are trying to please an outside deity. You're petitioning an outside deity when you don't understand that the power is within you and the deity is within you. So going back to the analogy of the boxing ring, and you're Mike Tyson, all you have to do is put your hands up and start fighting. And what I mean by that is accept the core belief that you are God man, God woman, and that whatever you believe in some way, shape, or form manifest in your reality. We do not all share the same reality. The reality that exists is purely subjective. You're going through certain sets of experiences based on your beliefs and your thoughts and your actions, while others are experiencing different things. In fact, there also is a disconnect in terms of time. Some of your friends are living in a past, others are living in the future, and then when you come together with that, you bridge the timeline. This is well-known factor. And I'm not talking figuratively here, like, oh, theoretically, I'm talking reality here, okay? Time is different, it is relative, okay? Keep that in mind. And we know the bigger the mass and the gravitational pull it has, difference in time, space, they're connected. So my second thing to manifesting your fantasies or whatever you want in your life is this. What we call an NLP, if you study NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, it's called frame control. Point simply, I just say this is all about visualizations, going into the fantasy world, the subconscious world. So let me explain further. Once you accept the core belief that you're a God man, God woman, and that everything in your life manifests due to your beliefs. Now, I mean everything. Let me give you an example. Well, let me not give you that example because I'm going to give you a powerful example later that's going to really cement all of this. But when you're going to your day-to-day life, going to work, going to school, what have you, you need to start envisioning a holistic picture of the life you want to lead, the world you want to be in. Fantasies or visualizations are good and healthy. They galvanize the chi energy, the raw force, and that is directed, and then it goes into the Heru factor, your will, and it becomes a reality. And in fact, if you go to the Port Het-Heru, the Ened, or what we call is the company of the gods, the secret formula is for manifesting things into the real world is contained within Sebek, Het-Heru, and Aset. Aset is trance visualization, trance state. Het-Heru, Hathor, is visualization, and Sebek is belief system. Those three combinations are powerful. So what I want you to start doing this, here's the exercise. Start creating a fantasy world for yourself. Now, I know some people were like, oh, you know, a lot of people get caught up in fantasies and they don't live in the real world. Well, yeah, that can be an issue. But hopefully you're not that type. You understand that this is an occult science, this is magic that you're working, that you're not going to get lost and caught up into a fantasy world and, you know, and forget about the day-to-day world. I want you to start visualizing and seeing an archetype of yourself, the perfect portrait of yourself, the picture of yourself, living in the type of life that you want. Now, it could be big house, nice car, nice mate, money. It could be whatever you want. But create this world and every day visualize more and more of it. And I mean visualize the minute details of like maybe going grocery shopping, picking up your kids and things of that nature. How will things play out in this world? This has to be done on a continual basis. And this is, again, what NLP we call frame control. This is maintaining a certain frame. Now, in conjunction with this, you have to not only, as I said before, accept the core belief that you are God man, God woman, but there is a sub-belief with that, a sub-program, actually, that goes along with that and usually hides behind the core belief. And what is that? That is that nothing that exists around you that you see, feel, hear, and touch is real. It is not real. You must accept that. You must understand that. The only thing that is real is the experience. Because reality cannot exist outside of the observer. You are the observer. You are like a computer-generated program. You are creating pixels of reality, a matrix. You are creating that. So get this straight. Number one, you are God man, God woman. You are powerful. Number two, nothing exists. There is no reality. It is all Maya, an illusion. Number three, actually, or we can go 1A, 2, frame control. Create something in your mind, which is the archetype of yourself, the perfect person you want to be. Visualize it not in the future, but as the present moment. Because here is the secret. When you're visualizing yourself as a multimillionaire, as the head of a major corporation, CEO of a corporation, or as a famous actor, actress, filmmaker, whatever, when you're visualizing yourself like that, it exists in some parallel reality. It does exist. Understand that. What you are merely doing when you visualize, here's the second component, and emotionally engaging yourself into this fantasy, you are now vibrating to a particular frequency that will align you to that reality and start to change the reality that you are currently existing in. You understand what I'm saying? Because your goal is to emotionally invest, visualize, and vibrate to a different frequency to align with the reality that you want. Now, here we go. Gets even better. The reality that you want will manifest. That is the law, ma'at. It has to manifest based on your thoughts, beliefs, and actions. If you act as if, what is acting as if? Acting as if you are a millionaire, acting as if you are a world traveler, acting as if you are a famous surgeon, then you are vibrating, your energy is shifting to that reality. Now, here's what's going to happen, because most people, they get confused when they're studying New Age and the occult, and they think, oh, I'm just going to like move to this parallel earth where it all is there, and that's not true. We're talking about a puzzle, imagine a puzzle. Let's say the San Francisco Bridge, right? There's a puzzle of the San Francisco Bridge, but you don't know what that puzzle is going to look like. You know what you want, the bridge, right? But you've got to put the pieces together to form the total picture, right? So when you are engaged in your fantasy or your visualization, and you have the correct belief system, you have the correct archetype image of yourself, you understand that there's no such thing as reality, it's all subjective. Every now and then, a piece of that puzzle will come into place, until eventually it forms the big picture, which is the reality that you have now vibrated to. Case in point, this is called synchronicity. When you start to see signs of little individual things that may seem weird and like a coincidence, this is an indication that you're slowly shifting closer and closer to the bigger picture, the bigger reality that you want. I see this all the time when I'm engaged in my rituals, when I'm doing, different acts. I will see these indicators, which are synchronicities, and it won't be surprising to me. Like, for example, I usually don't put on my Ma'at tie-dye shirt, but I said I'm going to put it on today. As soon as I put it on, I saw a commercial on TV for this tool for kids for tie-dyeing pants and t-shirts. And I was like, hey, there you go. So that's an indicator that I am shifting to a parallel world, one where it is more conducive to what I want. Now, this actually works in the exact opposite. Whereas you could harbor fears, phobias, ideas, and if you don't address them, they're going to manifest and shift you into a world that you do not want to be in, believe me. And this is what we say when people have a run of bad luck, things don't go their way. And it's because, number one, they have not accepted the core belief that they're God man, God woman. Number two, they have not accepted the sub-program or sub-belief that nothing is real. And number three, they're not visualizing the positive world or reality that they want to be in. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, but how does one deal with that? Because we all have anxieties about things. I too have anxiety about things. I'm not above reproach. I know, I'm just like everyone else. So how do you stay positive, knowing that the negative thoughts can creep into your sphere of awareness, your sphere of awareness? So what you got to do is you got to take on the Ma'at principle. And we all know that Ma'at is goddess of truth, justice, righteousness, balance, reciprocity. But more importantly, there's a powerful thing that Ma'at has. And Ma'at also stands for optimism. Ma'at is very optimistic. So I'm going to add a little bit of Het-Heru into there, a little joy and pleasure. And then we're going to add a little Sebek, because Sebek likes to laugh a lot. So the way we do this, and this is the technique that I use, when you're finding like things that crop in your head that are negative and that you could inadvertently manifest, because remember, you are a reality generating machine. Whatever you think about will come into being. So if you find that you are beset with negative ideas, or sometimes we call it negative conditionings, visualize those negative things and see yourself lightheartedly, optimistically, maybe laughing at the situation. Maybe just see yourself going into the situation and saying, everything will work out to my advantage. Having fun, laughing, lightheartedness. Remember the scales at the judgment scene of Ma'at, where they place on one side of the scale a feather of Ma'at, and the other side your heart, and your heart has to weigh lighter than the feather, which is being lighthearted, optimistic, not being heavy-hearted, taking things too hard. So when you are beset with these negative ideas, because thoughts are independent, you are not responsible for your thoughts, because psychically we transfer thoughts. Thoughts are in the atmosphere, and they could come to you and worry you. Just like when you enter a room, you can feel the energy in the room, whether people have been fighting or there's been like a death in that room. Those thoughts and energies will come to you. But if you take that thought and you dwell on it, then you're responsible for it, and then ultimately it'll manifest in some way, shape, or form. So what do you do? What do you do, my beloved? Again, we laugh. Civic laughs. We have joy in our hearts. We're optimistic. We replay the scenario of what we believe or think is a negative situation and be lighthearted about it and just say it'll all work out to my benefit. When you do that, you take that raw energy force that you were pumping into the negative thing and you dilute it. You disarm the energy so it can't manifest. And then you pump that energy into the positive visualization, the right thing that you want, and watch that manifest. Do you see what I'm saying? So this is what you have to do as God man and God woman. And they will get to a point of when you're playing your fantasy out or your visualization or the world that you want, that there is going to be a psychological break within your mind. And what do I mean by that? Meaning you will start to disown the current reality, no longer believe and accept the current reality, and believe the fantasy. And when you start to believe the fantasy at the core of your being, it manifests. How do we know this? Well, we know this because we all live in a hypnotic trance right now. We know through hypnosis or hypnotherapy that what we call as reality is merely a hypnotic trance state. And that when you give somebody, when you have those hypnotists that put you in that hypnosis state, that trance state, and gives you that post-hypnotic suggestion to make you believe that the water is really wine and you drink it and you taste like wine, that is nothing more than, you know, all he is doing is shifting you to a different reality. And that is the key. Because we are all living in a reality tunnel, a hypnotic tunnel. Whatever you feed your subconscious mind or your spirit becomes reality. This reality that we see before you, as I said, does not exist because it's nothing more than a hypnotic state. And we have been given these post-hypnotic suggestions to say, that's a building, that's a car, that's a mailbox, that's a girl, that's a boy. We have been given that post-hypnotic suggestion by the ruling elite. They have fed us these erroneous beliefs, which is why the world is in turmoil. But if we were to reverse those beliefs, what would be there? Because we know the present reality wouldn't be there, so what would be there? And that is a very interesting thought that you need to ponder. If you didn't subscribe to the erroneous labels, terms, definitions that is placed upon the reality that we interact with, if you didn't buy into that at the core of your being, it couldn't manifest. So if it does not manifest, then what would really be there? That's something to think about, you know? What's beyond the matrix? You feel me? So I want you, my beloved, to think about this, everything I've said, and start creating the world that you want. We don't have to protest. We don't have to write letters to our congressman. We don't have to join groups, religious groups, and that will promise that we will ascend to heaven. No, you're already there. You just got to find out how to vibrate to that frequency. You're already there. In fact, you are everywhere. You are in every realm that there is, and you're experiencing many lives simultaneously, but you're only focused on this particular life at this particular moment, which is an infinite moment. Hope all this makes sense. So anyway, with all that said, if you like the video, hit the like button and share it with family and friends so we can get the information out there, very important. And subscribe to the Patreon campaign so you can get some more information and more step-by-step guidance on how to live the life you want to live So listen, until my next broadcast, this is Kisan Keperu and Amun Ra.